Hello, I am Yogini Sunita, and this is Meditation, Yoga, and Stuff podcast. I believe my dharma or my life's purpose is to share my understanding of meditation, yoga, and Ayurveda, holistic healing science of India. I make these amazing wisdoms accessible and adaptable for present times. So let's start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Today, our guest is Amy, and I'm going to let Amy introduce herself. So, Amy, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here. Amy is a meditation practitioner and yoga teacher. So, Amy, please introduce yourself. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sunita. And my name is Amy.opielowski. I currently live in San Diego, and my yoga path started in 2007. And currently at the time I was a personal trainer. And when I found yoga, I jumped right into yoga studies. And I did my 2-year 200-hour program to become certified as a yoga teacher. I didn't start teaching until 2008. However, I've been teaching ever since. And I mostly teach power vinyasa, breath to movement, and I also teach restorative yoga. And currently, after moving into my 300-hour studies a few years ago, I currently am enrolled in a 2-year meditation school, a meditation and mindfulness school. My primary teachers are Brach and Jack Kornfield. And I'm 9 months into this 2-year program where I'll be certified from the Greater Good Science Center of UC Berkeley. And my passion is to complement my yoga asana classes with mindful classes, meditation classes. And meditation has been a part of my daily practice for since 2007, basically. So to hold spaces for others to come and to be introduced to meditation or to nourish their meditation practice. And I want to underline meditations because there's many forms of meditation. There's not one, just like there's not just one sport. There's basketball, football, there's abundant amount of sports, and there's abundant amount of ways to meditate. So to offer many forms so every human can find a mode that feels like coming home to them, and to find some stillness, and to find some ease and equanimity. So that's a little bit about my path.
Thank you very much, Amy. Really appreciate that. So the reason for these interviews is mainly so for the listeners to hopefully get the perspective of like yoga path can be, can be very diverse, and it can give opportunity to people to follow or maybe create their own path. So that's the purpose behind these kind of things. So would you like to share why you decided to come on this path? Like, what was the catalyst to come on this path?
Yeah, thank you. Great question, Sunita. The catalyst was authenticity. To be honest, the holding and pretending I wasn't really aware of until I stepped on the yoga path. I'm a middle child. I come from a competitive family. I was a competitive athlete. And without judgment, just noticing, I really realized where I was pretending to be this or that to fit in, to really move more towards pretending versus being my authentic self. So stepping on this path, the catalyst was to answer the question, who am I? What are my deepest driving desires? And what is my dharma? What are my gifts that I want to share with the world, with the universe? So moving into these spaces of meditation where I can practice being quiet and still with myself, and or in flow and vinyasa yoga, where I'm able to breathe and move with my own body to feel creativity, coupled with that sense of manifesting who I am and my desire to share yoga asana, and to share meditation with my students. And for my students, then to pass that on just through their way of being to their family members and their friends, just how they show up. I live for that exchange, that ripple impact out to my students.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. And how do you think it has impacted your own life? Like, have you, as you said, that you started this journey to discover who you are. And I know that it takes life time to figure out who we are and what's really our true nature. So far, how is it going? And I'm asking this because it's really good to know you through. We connected through Beth, your beautiful wife, and she said that, my wife is, meditation practitioner, and you will really connect with it. And I was like, oh, I'm very curious. I would like to connect. And this interview came up. So I'm like, I would like to know more, like your, how you can bring this into your day-to-day life, how it has impacted. So these are the two questions I have.
Thank you. Great questions again. And starting with how's it going so far? One of my favorite quotes is from Joseph Campbell, and it's the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are. And that being is just, it's a constant, consistent showing up and being present of asking the question, who am I and what are my deepest driving desires to, for me and myself, to allow the facade to fall away. And through that, I was able to not only find yoga, but to meet Beth, my wife, and we got married in 2017. And all of that happened because I was willing to open my heart and to let go of old worn out ideas or thoughts or dogma that really wasn't a part of who I was. So I could step into who I truly was. And, since finding yoga, since marrying Beth, love within me and around me has expanded. So it's just wonderful to be reminded as we do these daily practices of being with ourselves and building a relationship with ourselves. We realize that love is always loving us, and that that as we let go and allow love in, we can give more love out. And so I know that a lot of humans want to serve, they want to give. And I think the biggest thing I have to remind myself daily is you first have to love yourself. And through loving yourself and having these daily practices of learning how to be with yourself in stillness and to observe our thoughts, because basically consciousness is our thoughts, and our thinking is a byproduct of our thoughts. So by observing our thoughts, we're observing our consciousness. And through that conscious knowing, we get to remember who we are and fall back to remembering. And in that remembering, I'm always brought back to love again and again. And the last thing I want to say, even though like my daily practices of meditation in the morning, I'm still working on coming to meditation in the PM. It's a little difficult because of, the busyness of life. And I am slowly breathing into that because morning meditation has been such a consistent thing. And also what I've really through the years, just having mindfulness check-ins. So not just allowing my meditation to be a 30-minute sit or a 45-minute sit in the morning, and then I'm a hot mess the rest of the day. It's basically allowing myself to pause and feel who I am as I'm moving through life, and almost like a moving meditation, whether I'm teaching yoga or having a conversation with a stranger, or I'm writing out a schedule for the day, or answering that last minute email. How can I notice when I'm rushing or not truly being present? So those are some thoughts that come to mind for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. I totally understand, how this meditation can seep into every part of our life. Even just few moments in the morning. This is my experience in the morning when you start meditating. it just changes our reactions. That's the beauty of these things. The reaction changes. And when I started noticing, I'm like, oh, 5 minutes. And it was like almost like a aha moment, like, wow. So then I started noticing that, okay, if I do a little bit longer, what is going to happen? And just like you, initially I tried different times and I noticed that morning works the best. And traditionally in yoga wisdom, they say that the best time is 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I'm like, oh my God, I started doing that initially and it was too much pressure. So I had to figure out what is going to really work, because working full time, family, running around, living in big city. So I had to find out a really, time which really works for me. And I tried different times and I noticed that, okay, not maybe 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., but whenever I can, like in the morning when I wake up, like just before I start craziness of the day, I started meditating. So do you have anything to share, something on those lines? I would love to know how you discovered what really works for you.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you saying that the morning practice didn't necessarily resonate with your current lifestyle and you adjusted. And I think that's so beautiful. And that's just it, is allowing yourself to find what works. And for me, it is morning. I love morning meditation around 4 a.m. is like my sweet time where I am able just to be with myself. And it took a while to figure out that it was the morning time. And I think that's just the beauty of allowing it to be a process of investigation and recognizing, ooh, this feels better. This doesn't feel as cohesive for me. And the other awesome thing is it may shift as our lives shift. Finding meditation, it can literally be, like you said, 2 minutes when you come home from work, turn off the car before you get out back into the home. It can be closing your eyes in your car and meditating. For me, when I first started, sometimes that was my meditation and it worked for me. It really was the opportunity where meditation was still a part of my daily practice. And it's what was right then. And it has evolved into, 30 years, sometimes 45. When things really fall in place, an hour where I get to just sit and be there in the practice of meditation. And the other thing I want to mention, there's the forms of meditation. There's walking meditation. And this is where I'm really being curious right now. Like in the evening, what if I go roll out my sticky mat and just do a slow walking meditation up and down my mat for 5 minutes. And if perhaps because the day doesn't allow us sit, but just to do something rhythmic and that to be a form of meditation. So I'm in the process myself of really just seeing how I can bring meditation into my life through beyond just that 30-minute sit in the morning. So, yeah.
I mean, anything can be meditation, any movement. Asana practice is a beautiful example how we can bring mindfulness into moving, even washing dishes, like,
absolutely,
just tuning into what's happening, the flow of the water. It just becoming observer. And the process is so beautiful. Once we experience the stillness, I think it becomes like, wow, this is amazing feeling. And I would like this more, and that's what my journey was like that. And then also finding way to bring it into my life in this moment now. So this is how I started doing my own practices. Also, when last year when I wasn't well, I had to modify my practice. So I noticed that as my life, I'm moving through the life, the practices also move with me. Like, it depends on what's happening. And I think that's the beauty. Like there are so many ways to meditate. Yeah. There are so many ways we can bring these practices in our life. And any movement, anything in your life can be meditation. This is what, is beauty of meditation. And a lot of time people don't understand that, they always think that, because the social media tells us sitting cross-legged, in a blissful state is the meditation. Yes, that is part of it, but there is also ways you can bring, like you said, walking meditation, also opening your heart. You mentioned it very beautifully earlier, that love, and if you notice that love really, the compassion and love is the basis of meditation, of our being, our human being. And that's the connection. When we start meditating, our heart somehow opens up more and expands, and we become more compassionate, and we also start noticing what is really important to us, in a sense, like in a positive sense. I'm not talking about selfish sense, us as a human being, as a human race. And we start becoming more giving and more caring. Is that would you like to share something about your experience? This is my theory. What about you?
Yeah, thank you, Sunita. I agree. It's the beautiful thing when you turn in and you open your heart, and your heart opens where it opens your mind. One of my mentors, Heather Peterson, her, one of her favorite hashtags was open heart, open mind. And open heart not only widens the compassion for ourselves, self-compassion. I really want to come back to my understanding from my experience. The first relationship is with yourself, and through loving yourself, you can amplify love abundantly out. It's such a deep truth for me. And I feel like as you open your heart, you open your mind to multiple perspectives, and you live in the moment. It's about coming to present moment, and not old ideas or fantasizing for the future. It's like being with the human being or the humans you're in front of, and co-creating with the moment, with whomever you have the opportunity to be with. It goes beyond judgment or performance or fear, or, any of those forms of where there's perceived disconnection. So absolutely. And not only did it bring me to love and meet my wife, but it allows me to continue to meet the beautiful beings in my life where, I have the opportunity to work, and I meet teachers every day and students every day where they teach me. They're my teachers almost every day as I am in concert with them, whether I'm teaching or having a conversation. They teach me more than I teach them as I open my heart to them. And it's a beautiful, there's that reciprocity when you open your heart. And it's beautiful to let go of old ideas so you can really be with the human you're in front of, and learn from, what makes us different, and really celebrate what makes each individual person different. And it's because it's our difference that makes us powerful and beautiful. And that requires an open heart and an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we, that's very beautifully said, and when we open our heart, I think we start to see through all the drama which mind creates, and we start to see that, this is all just drama, and what true nature of our being is love and compassion. That's what it is, and that is the connection, true connection. That's true yoga. So yoga means union with our outer and inner self, but also yoga is also union with, the beings around us who are also, it has a essence of the divine within them. So we're connecting with that. And this is what my take on, earlier it was just theory when I was, studying about yoga, but through meditation, actually, the real magic happened there. The real magic I sensed in meditation, that I went back to these, Yoga Sutra or Bhagavad Gita, and it made more sense. So just studying it doesn't make sense, where it is a guide. These are guides of how to live yogic life, right? And so when you start tuning into your own practice, they open more secrets. That's my experience. And same with the with the any form of meditation has given me that kind of like opening up to new wisdom from the same books, we can say, or scriptures. So that's my experience. What do you think? Have you experienced similar things? I can hear
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. I really feel as we sit in meditation and we have the opportunity, or even to use a mantra of a sacred text, a sutra, and now the experience of yoga, for example, Sutra 1.1 for a general translation, it just reminds me as I repeat it about commitment, about being here now, about readiness, confidence, unwavering focus, and just one sutra, repeating it as a mantra, like a mind vehicle to leapfrog your everyday repetitive thoughts. It really unlocks miracles of awareness. And it's so amazing how a piece of sacred text or a mantra can do that. So I really resonated with what you just said, for sure.
Yeah, it is amazing. The mantras are very powerful. Sanskrit mantras basically come from the wisdom of meditation, and so when we meditate on these mantras, they're very powerful, even though traditionally the guru never explains the mantra. So the mantra is given to you, but there is no explanation. So when we start meditating on that, the meaning will reveals itself when we are ready.
Beautiful.
And
I really like that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Sanskrit mantras. And it's really amazing how powerful these few words are, like, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, just few words, But
Yeah.
when we meditate on that, it is like we can meditate on it for whole life, it's just that powerful. And these are very profound practices. And I love it because it has given me so much. What are your thoughts? Would you like to share any experience, anything in particular or in general about the meditation, why it is so important to you?
Thank you. Joy, a sense of groundedness, you spoke to it before, reflectivity over reactivity. I'm a pretty calm person. I always have been. And it just has really allowed me to steep deeper into that, being that peacemaker, being a person who just holds the space. And I love that. I feel like that's I call it one of my superpowers, of just to hold the space, and meditation, allows me to nourish that. And I want to circle back to joy. Meditation for me is a gratitude practice. It's a form of gratitude practice, or just learning how to be with yourself. It's a form of appreciation. And how often, as we move through this world and become adults, where we really practice appreciation and, building the relationship with ourselves, like with that childlike curiosity, normally where we direct our focus to other things or outside external things. And it's so beautiful to turn inward and to feel that joy, that love, that presence expand. And those are the greatest gifts. And obviously the love of, I get the opportunity to receive so much love through my relationship with my wife and my profession as a yoga teacher, and, excited to continue to move forward as a person that holds space for meditators, whether you're just started meditating or you want to continue to meditate. So it's just really, really wonderful to see the benefits of meditation. And on top of it, making you feel better, just overall, like well-being, might feel a little like think a little clearer, or be able to organize your life, because it kind of naturally clears out the clutter. Yeah.
That's so beautifully said. I mean, I totally agree with you. A lot of time we carry a lot of clutters and stories behind these clutters. In a sense, clutter can be thoughts, clutter can be memory, kind of clutter can be anything maybe which is not serving us, but we carry it thinking that it is our own.
Yeah.
When we start meditating, I think we start separating or start understanding the what is really valuable for us and what is really important, and then all the facade just drops, and your true nature start evolving, which is all human beings. Our true nature is compassion and love, and then that starts shining through. In my own experience, it has given me so much of understanding and clarity that what is really matters as a human being, and it has opened my heart tremendously, because I think we get attached to the identity, and we start thinking that that's who we are. So for me, the identity was I'm Indian woman. So in that, like, I am Indian woman, therefore identity I'm hanging on to, right? But the truth is that's not true. And then I started traveling the world. I lived in US, I lived in Australia, UK, and I noticed that everyone, every culture, everywhere, we have our own struggles and we have our own things we unnecessarily hang on to. And it was like almost like a peeling an onion and really letting go these layers. And this is what I learned from meditation. Would you like to share anything from your experience? What meditation has taught you in your life?
Yeah, thank you. This is another really powerful question. I think the first thing that comes to mind, one of the first things, is the power of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, forgiveness of others. And coming back to the power of presence, to look at those old conditioned beliefs. For example, one that comes up for me is I'm not enough, or I'm not consistent. It's just, Amy, be more consistent, and or why aren't you ever like enough, like, study harder, or, get that certification or this. It's always like the need of more. And realizing these were beliefs from, my upbringing that are not me, and along with, like, I was a competitive athlete, and like that was my identity, and letting go of that was a big one, because, beyond that story of competitor, it comes the heart of being in the present moment to serve and to get to do the things I get to do, versus like anything that I earn or anywhere to get. So it really is like a beautiful shift, and it brings just more beauty into your life, where you start to hear the birds in the background when you never usually noticed, or you're having a conversation with someone you know very well, but you notice something you never noticed before because you're being present in the moment. Or something random can happen, like your puppy just, jumps in the room, and you're able to smile with the moment, and it brings you joy, versus like, this should not be happening right now, for just another random example. So I really like that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, puppy is joyous thing. He's so cute. So, I mean, I totally agree with you, because these are, a life can throw anything towards us, and how can we still find stillness, in all these situations? Because we assume that everything around us is going to behave the way we want it, and that never happens, because that's how life is. There is only thing we have in our hand is this moment. This moment where our inhale and our exhale, and that moment is the only thing. Otherwise, the moment before that is a past. The moment is going to come after that is future. So all this is what Yoga Sutra basically is talking about. It's a beautiful guide of how to meditate. And for me, that like learning from Yoga Sutra was be in this moment, And a lot of time in my experience, in this moment, we are mostly okay in this inhale and exhale. The stories mind weave around what's happening, are just the stories, and upbringing plays, as you mentioned, that upbringing plays a really big part, because we then carry our parents or their upbringing story that they thought they have kind of like enforced on us, so we carry that, and there comes a point we start thinking that that's me, but also comes a point that we do not gel with that idea, and we start noticing, no, this is not who I am. So we start moving away from that to do self-discovery. And this is where yoga, I think, and meditation really plays a really big part. Is that your experience? Do you sense that in your meditation?
Yes. And one of my teachers says it's the difference between living on the Discovery Channel versus virtual reality, and the virtual reality of rehearsing or rehashing or fill in the blank, fantasizing, any thinking pattern that is just not allowing yourself to be present. And one beautiful form of meditation I was recently introduced was RAIN, RAIN, and it's recognize, allow, investigate, and nourish. And I found out, I stumbled upon this meditation from Tara Brach, and it's basically just to what you're speaking to. It's recognizing the moment as it is and just allowing it to be what it is. And then the beautiful thing that I'm really working on, and it's a new tool, I feel, or a tool I'm deepening my awareness around, is investigation, and asking myself, what am I believing right now? Because it's like noticing, just investigating the thoughts that you're having and what you're believing. And then through that, nourishing your capacity to look beyond the belief to the actual experience of now. And that requires confidence too, to allow yourself to be in the moment, and an unwavering focus and a readiness. And the beautiful thing with meditation, it's a process, and it doesn't have to look any way. It can literally be an opportunity for anyone to bring in their life in the most simple way to receive the benefits that we're talking about, and to feel the ability to recognize every moment as it is, to allow it, to investigate it and nourish it. So yeah, I absolutely do agree.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, the meditation is so, it has given me so much, and it basically helped me to understand myself more, just like as you have noticed in your journey, that you realize that these are not my thoughts, these are thoughts from outside, and my dharma is different, and you started exploring that. So that's really beautiful. And I went through the similar process, and I also now help a lot of people to find their dharma, and
beautiful.
And that I do through yoga, meditation, and Ayurveda. And what we do simply is just when they come for mentoring, and a lot of time now everything is virtual now, but even though then we can still find out what practices will really work for their life. So we start there. Okay, be practical, what is going to work, and living in this moment, because people think that for to practice meditation, then they have to have like a beautiful meditation room and certain time and music. And meditation really doesn't require anything like that, So we try to figure out what really is going to work, what is practical. And as you mentioned, like, 2 minutes in the car, sometimes we start there.
Yes.
And once we get taste of that, then people start bringing those moments more. So we work around that. So like, okay, where you are, and we start there, meeting people there. And so over the period of time teaching and mentoring people, I realized that everyone's meditation is really unique to themselves. So that's why there are so many meditation practices. And I always suggest to do the practice at least for 21 days, unless it is really big no-no, because sometimes some meditation practices may be very uncomfortable. So though you don't have to do that, don't push through that. But if you like a practice, just don't jump from one practice to other. At least give yourself 21 days. In your teaching or learning this meditation practice, have you come across something similar teachings? Would you like to share that?
Definitely. 21 days, I'm a big believer on to create a positive, pattern in your life and for that to be consistent. So I definitely use the 21 days to set a tone for my own practice. And two, going back to what you said, it oscillates and allowing yourself compassion to realize that in those 21 days and beyond, it may be 2 minutes one day and it might be 10 or 30, or it might be that walking meditation we talked about, or a moving power vinyasa or a yoga asana class. It really, to practice compassion with yourself. And it doesn't have to be that sit in a place in that beautiful place where, it can be in the car, it can be on the couch, it could be a place where you just find yourself right then in that moment. And let's say there's noise in the background, you can still find meditation there too. Some of my most profound meditation practices was where I allowed myself to be in the chaos and just breathe through it, whether it was internal chaos or external chaos, it doesn't really matter, and just to breathe and to breathe some more. And through that allowing, normally, like they say, meditation dissolves the meditator before you realize that you're in the practice of meditation. Exactly. And it's just because you approached it with zero expectation and a sense of almost playfulness. Yeah. It's one of my first teachers back in 2007. It was just about a sense of playfulness. It didn't have to always be a tall, strong seat. It could, you could lie down if you really need it, or just adapt it to really meet you where you're at each day. So to move forward with that playfulness is, I think, really, really key.
Yes, beautifully said. That's what I always say to my, people who I mentor, that, don't let meditation be another stress of your life. Let it be something you can go towards to find peace, rather than, oh, I have to meditate. That's going to create a lot of stress, and then it's not really solving that point. I'm just going to mention one thing that we mentioned, that meditating in the car, we're talking about switching off the car and then please don't do it when you're driving, please.
Yes. Good point.
That's very important. You can bring mindfulness into driving. You can become
absolutely
happening, but please don't, close your eyes and meditate when you are driving. So we're talking about basically, when you reach home, switch off your car and sit there for 2 minutes. Take a breather and then enter into the chaos of what's happening in the house. So kids running around and things like that. So that's what we're talking about. And I really, really appreciate you being here, Amy. Really, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. And we'll keep in touch once you have finished your meditation education, and also you start sharing. Maybe we can come back again and talk about that. So how about—
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And all the best for your meditation journey. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. And for the listeners, if you want, there are 4 meditations on my website, sunitayoga.com, audio meditations. Feel free to, they're free meditations. Feel free to listen to them and see what you like and bring that into your life. If you want to start journey of meditation or experience some different kind of meditation. So there are 4 types of meditation there. Enjoy them. They're not very long. They're, I think, roughly 10 to 12 minutes. So, and they're guided meditations. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amy, for being here. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that you're taking this time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.